because I was pretty good in hockey, my popularity changed a bit.
You said Nick Cannon. You met Nick Cannon too?
Yeah, Nick was a DJ too. He was
Get out of here! I didn't even know that.
He was doing his DJ era. Yeah, Nick was cool. Going back to that, I learned a lot in those 2 years. I had a friend that had moved out there, and he was on the red carpet and doing his thing, and he was living in the Hollywood Hills, and I was invited into that network.
Our next guest is an entrepreneur, creator, producer, and community leader, born and raised in Cranston, Rhode Island. How was it working with Steve Aoki? I mean, his music and his shows are so dope. Like, did you get to see him throwing cakes at the crowd and shit like that? When did you realize that this was something you wanted to do for the rest of your life? Obviously, you make 15 grand a night. That's fucking insane.
And by the grace of God, Adam hits me up, his security guard, and was like, yo, they're looking for...
All right, we're back, and we have a very, very special guest on the show today. Our next guest is an entrepreneur, creator, producer, and community leader, born and raised in Cranston, Rhode Island. He wears many, 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 many hats. I could literally go on for days. It's an honor to have you in my presence, my brother. Thank you so much for being on the show. I want to give you a round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm ecstatic right now, as you could tell.
Your energy is electric, man.
I appreciate it.
You showed a lot of love first time we met.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Yeah, man,
absolutely.
It's electric. So I'll let you rock, but I'm happy to be here too. I appreciate the invite.
Oh no, I appreciate it. How are you feeling today? I usually like to start with that.
I had a little kombucha this morning. I don't know if you do that, but got my stomach a little weird. But outside of that, man, it's a beautiful day. Spring's coming.
Yo, for real.
Feeling a little uplifted. Those dark winters get a little long, right?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good.
We're out of the depressive state.
Yes, we are.
We're going into the best. The sun's going to shine brighter now. The hour's going to get longer, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's like a perfect day today, no?
It was.
When I looked outside, I said, because I came outside this morning, I start my day very early because I take my daughter to school at like 7 in the morning. I got my big ass coat on. I got my winter hat, Scully glove. I'm like, damn, wait a minute.
Take it off.
I'm like, it's perfect,
Felt
right?
Good, right?
Hell yeah.
I did the same. No jacket today.
Yo.
Yeah, it feels good, man.
Ed Brady is in the motherfucking building. Episode 71. We're going to get into the intro real quick, and we'll be right back. Welcome to the Jmack Experience Podcast. This show is for motivational purposes only. However, we will not be politically correct, but our goal is to inspire those who listen and watch the show. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us at the Jmack Experience Podcast and email us if you would like to be a guest on our platform at the Jmack Experience Podcast at gmail.com. Peace. Once again, man, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for showing up.
Thanks for having me, man.
Truly appreciate it. Now, I like to start from the very beginning. For those out there who are not familiar with who you are, what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Ed Brady. I was born in Silver Lake, Providence on Doris Street. Lived there till I was about 3. We were in a 3-family apartment with my Nana, the whole family.
Silver Lake, that's where I'm at now. That's crazy.
Lake,
I love it out there.
Doris Street, that was where Dad grew up. And, when I was 3, I moved to Cranston. My parents worked really hard to get me here in a safe town.
Nice.
And, never looked back. Just kept working hard and been here ever since. So Cranston's home. Lived in Hollywood for a few years and ended up coming back to Cranston. That's how much I love around.
The good old Cranston. I like it. Like, that's good. So your whole life, you just Cranston. You say you went to Hollywood. We'll touch base on that later, but nowhere else in particular. Just Cranston and Silver Lake.
For the most part, yeah. That's kind of been home. Yeah, Cranston.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like it. Now, what was it like for you in the early days, like growing up out here in Cranston, Rhode Island, and in Silver Lake? What was it like? What was life like?
My parents grew up, both pretty poor. Grandparents came in, they worked their butt off, and Cranston was a blessing to get here. And what was it like growing up in Cranston? I think I took my first job at 13 as a caddy at a country club, so I'm carrying both the bags, but I wasn't, and your energy is pretty similar. You're not afraid to talk to people. I would ask every question I could. Started my first IRA at like 15 and got a golf bag and started learning how to golf so I could obviously do the deals on the business course.
That's dope.
How I looked and just worked hard. I played hockey. I was pretty good in high school.
You played hockey too?
Played hockey, yeah.
Man, that's different.
It was and it got me a scholarship and it eventually got me to Bryant. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's kind of how it all started here in Cranston. Yeah. But I love. Cranston is. I'll wear Cranston on my sleeve. We got great food. We got incredible people. Community theater. We got Garden City. We got Chapel View. It's just it's a safe space, and Yeah, I just had a kid 2.5 years ago, and this is where I want to raise him.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Anchored into
like
Cranston, man. I appreciate it.
You wouldn't go nowhere else, huh?
I don't know, man. I've traveled. I've seen the world a bit, and I'm not saying I wouldn't live somewhere else in these dark winters.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you want to get away from
sometimes
the cold,
we
right?
all got to get away. But no, I think I'm anchored in, and I like calling this home.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You touched base on a lot of shit on that one question, which is awesome. But I want to just backtrack just a little bit. I read it, I was doing my research and stuff like that. And then I noticed that it said that you quit playing soccer as a child so you can help out. Is that when you get the job as the caddy?
Oh, wow, yeah, that's great. Yeah, wow, you're bringing me back there. I had to quit soccer. Mom was the only one working. My dad was on disability, former gunshot victim, and the wall fell on top of him. Thanks, but he's still here, and he's one of my heroes. But mom was working overnight. She got cancer when I was 13, and neither one of them were working. So I grew up pretty quick. I have a younger brother, and just like I was saying, caddying, going to get those checks. Had to quit the sport. And I just remember that first time, bringing that check home to mom. And
felt good, right?
Yeah, it felt good. And she started crying. And I think that's when I really realized the value of money, right? And how it can change family situations.
And you need it.
Yeah, we all need it. We all need it. And the more you can make, the more you can give. And I've had a lot in certain points of my process, and I've had nothing at certain points of my process.
Absolutely.
So the humility of it all, I think, is something I want to continue. And I think that's why at this point in my journey, I like giving so much.
Yeah.
Whether it's my time, my money, just my knowledge, my success, my failure. I have navigated through a lot of things at 40 years old now.
Yeah, so. And you don't look it, by the way. Shout out to you. Man. I want to be like you when I grow up.
How old are you?
I'm getting there, man. It's scary for me right now. I'm 37.
37.
First time I say my age on the pod, but whatever. But I'm like, damn, I'm getting old, And then my daughter's telling me, Dad, you're old. It's just setting in, you know what I mean?
How old's your daughter?
She'll be 11 April 28th.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
so
Amen.
You know how. But so it's safe to say that you come from humble beginnings, right? Now, who inspired you more or less to want to, get into the entertainment industry? You did say that you went to Hollywood. Who sparked that in you to want to leave Rhode Island, go to a whole nother place and take that path in life? It had to be somebody, no?
I wasn't really like a popular middle school kid. I was wearing hand-me-down clothes and, but I was in choir, and I did theater at that age, and I was in the plays, whether it's Huck Finn or anything fun like that. So I had a spark early on, enjoying the process of entertainment. I would MC all the pep rallies and holiday shows and all that fun stuff when I got to high school. And because I was pretty good in hockey, my popularity changed a bit. I was the only kid that made freshman varsity, and all of a sudden the girls started taking a little interest.
Were you like one of those high school jocks? You had the varsity jacket on?
I did. When I finally got out of that, that middle school bullied kid, I was playing that part my junior, senior year. But I would, I would make it a very inclusive, bring everyone together type. I wanted, I've always kind of been that way, bring everyone together. That's always been a mission of mine. As far as going out to Hollywood, I studied film and television my senior year and junior year at Bryant. It was a new program that they had initiated, and it was funny. I was on a job interview, and basically the president of the university comes over. It was for like $95,000 a year for a cigarette company named Philip Morris, and I thought that was going to be my path. I get the job. The president gives me the endorsement, and I'm like, that's a lot of money in 06, right?
I'm rolling in the dough.
I'm rolling, right?
I made it.
And instead I think I had $6,000 from a poker tournament that I won.
You play poker too?
Oh yeah.
What don't you do?
I played a lot of poker back in my day when I was young. Still play, and I enjoy the game. But yeah, went out there with $6,000, went out to Hollywood, didn't take the job, was an extra on sets, wanted to learn about film production. Yeah. Any way I could get on a red carpet, meet a celebrity, any way I could network. I was out at the nightclubs, grinding, promoting at the nightclubs, doing whatever I could to meet people out there, which eventually led to some opportunities and met some great celebrities. And
who did you meet along the way? We got to get some names.
I used to go to Sunday. There was a Banana Split Sunday. It was like one of the coolest nights in Hollywood. And Hollywood wasn't like, you don't go out on Friday, Saturday. You go out on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. That's when
odd days.
Yeah, you're catching the celebrities. And I was living right off Sunset, and it was a culture shock for me in the coolest way. Sunset was like right above West Hollywood, which is also like one of the gay capitals of the world. So coming from New England, I wasn't exposed to that kind of culture.
It was something different for you, right?
Yeah, in the coolest way, man. Love is love, and like it was just such an eye-opening experience for me in so many ways, being out there and it's a melting pot, right? And everybody's from somewhere else, and you're kind of learning all about all different types of, and you didn't have that like New England, you know, we're a little protective with our energy here. We don't,
Boston strong.
Yeah, right? It was everybody talks to everybody. So, you know, like, you know, going back to that, I learned a lot in those 2 years. I had a friend that had moved out there, and he was on the red carpet and doing his thing, and he was living in the Hollywood Hills, and I was invited into that network, and I just tried to learn, treat people like everybody else. You know, I was rocking that Banana Split Sunday with DJ AM, Steve Aoki, Bam Margera.
Shout out to them.
Nick Cannon. You know,
rest in peace to DJ AM.
Oh man, that was a wild story. He's one of the most talented humans I've ever had the luxury to work with. Just
legend.
Love music, and it was authentic because I approached him all humbled, 22-year-old kid, nervous. Shook my hand, took my number, and we stayed connected since then. And eventually, when I moved home, we got him back to Rhode Island to rock. We got Aoki back to Rhode Island to rock. And it was kind of just, you know, being kind out there, trying to provide value to those cats that eventually led to some success at home.
You said Nick Cannon. You met Nick Cannon too?
Yeah, Nick was a DJ too. He was
Get out of here. I didn't even know that.
He was doing his DJ era. Yeah, Nick was cool. I really respect Nick's story. You know, I know he's got a bunch of kids now. But I remember him early on, like really early on. You know, hustling and way pre Nick Cannon. I remember a lot of people that I was fortunate enough to meet in the journey, and now knowing who they are now, awesome. It's wild, man. It's wild.
How was it? Because I'm a big people don't know I'm big into like techno, dubstep, all that shit. And there's people like, you like that shit? Like, bro, I've always loved that type of music, and do hip hop. You know, I started with music myself. But how was it working with Steve Aoki? I mean, his music and his shows are so dope. Like, did you get to see him throwing cakes at the crowd and shit like that?
That's a great question. You know, it's interesting. Steve, I remember like learning how to DJ with AM. Like he like came from father of Benihana, who was like this restaurateur legend.
Oh, Benihana's
Benihana.
Expensive,
that was
bro.
That was.
They got that in New York.
Yeah, it was dope. And you know, his sister was, you know, on Fast and Furious, and I you know. He was the realest cat coming around. We played poker. We went down to Foxwoods. We did that pre-show. We played it, and then the next time he came, we played at a home game at my house. And he had a clothing line that he was starting called Jmack. Yep. And we went to the local clothing boutiques, and we got the clothing line in there. I mean, he was grinding even back in 08, 09. And to see his rise to fame, I think at the time, it was a lot for me. I think we paid him $5,000, and he did us kind of that favor at that low rate because of the relationship we had built out in LA, and I think the door did like $15,000, and I was just hooked.
So that sparked it for you. Like, this is what I want to do.
I was hooked, man. Yeah, I was like, you know, I went from actor to like, oh, there's something here in this event production, nightclub world, which eventually led to, after a few years of success, opening my own spots from investors taking notice, and you know, it's been a wild ride since. You know, ups, downs, everywhere in between, and in the journey of life, but so many lessons that I'm blessed that I've received.
See, because that was one of my next questions. Like, when did you realize that this was something you wanted to do for the rest of your life? Obviously, you make $15,000 a night. That's fucking insane off of 5,000. You know, you tripled your investment, right? And I remember, because I didn't even know, and then I started looking into stuff that you were the guy behind The View.
I was part of that team. Yeah, I was part of that team.
And I was going there because when I first moved out here, it must have been around that time, like 2010, late 2009. And I used to go to Balloons because, you know, I'm from New York. So I used to go to all the spots that were late night and therapy and shit like that. But The View was my spot because I used to work in the mall. So I used to just cross the street and go club. I remember the night they bring down Chris Brown and T-Pain.
That was our 2-year anniversary.
That was you?
That was our 2-year
anniversary. I had to ask you,
Oh, man, that's a great story.
That was insane.
If we could touch on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rest in peace, the guy that brought him, my friend Adam DeCiccio. We have a nonprofit in his honor called Cranston Cares, and he was in a platoon in the military, 2nd Platoon, 22nd Battalion, 222. I have it on my chest. It means deeds, not words, and is living life through deeds, not words. But he was Chris's security guard in Boston. I had promoted, you know, we had a big surprise earlier that night. That fell through. And by the grace of God, Adam hits me up, his security guard, and was like, yo, they're looking for a spot to party in Providence. Like,
that's wild.
And like,
bro.
You know, next thing you know, I got my shirt off with Chris, and we're rallying in the crowd.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
You know, it hit Rhode Island by storm. And I think, you know, for me, when I found myself in that era, obviously coming from film and meeting celebrities like, just like you or I, and talking to them and being real, the impact that had on a Rhode Island nightlife culture coming out of 08, 09 mortgage crisis. People are down. The economy's struggling.
The recession. It was tough.
It was tough times then, and we had the ability to just kind of get people out of their own head, get them out for the night, re-inspire. And it was one of the most electric chapters of my life. View was kind of what helped me make a name for myself. I had a young mentor who believed in me and believed in the team, and it was a restaurant really, and went through a whole bunch of different derivatives, but you were taking
pictures for free. That's fucking
that's
insane.
When I started.
I do photography too. That's what I do to get my
network,
money.
Get it up on the website.
Yeah, that's insane.
Next thing you know, for like 2 years straight, man, we had like 700-800 people there going every night, and we had the door, and it was wild. And Steve ended up passing away. He committed suicide, and I appreciate it. And but he was, there's a lot of gatekeeping in this world of information. A lot of people don't want to educate or teach, and Steve was never afraid to tell me about life and the realities of life and some of his internal struggles, and put things in perspective later on in my journey when things got a little bit dark or a little bit hard. That's never the answer, and I still talk to both him and Adam today, and if I'm having a bad day, I'll just ask for a little guidance, You got
some guardian angels with you.
Guardian angels,
right?
But
so he was more or less like your mentor,
one of my mentors for sure.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Now we got to touch base. Now you got so many things going on. We could probably be here for days, but I want to touch base on what you got going on currently, right?
Yeah, of course.
So the Thirsty Beaver, how did that come about, and what was the initial startup process?
Great question. I had met my business partner and my investing. He's always been like the guy that invested in me. From that nightclub promoting stuff, he was the first guy that, moms took a second mortgage out on a house to open up a place called Vanity Supper Club. So that was my first spot after Steve died. I did it with Jeff, and we were able to kind of get Jeff back and the family back the investment within a year, which then led to the Thirsty Beaver. I met Jeff when I was 13 years old on a caddy bench. He was a caddy also.
Really?
And he was just moving back to Rhode Island from Washington, and fast forward the story, we both played hockey, and he got into real estate investing and, did pretty well for himself. And, we had an idea, started with a sketch on a napkin. How can we make a family friendly, inclusive space? And we've been very fortunate that it's scaled to
the food is delicious, by the way.
4 locations. Thanks, man.
When I'm looking at it, I've been there a few times. The food is amazing, actually.
We try to be that
good finger food and stuff like that.
Good finger food, community spot. We want everyone to feel welcomed in a log cabin bar. We have locations now, and
you got 5 locations, no?
We had 5. After COVID, now we're down to 4. We had one in Mass, but we have Cranston, Smithfield, Westerly, and North Kingston. And
that's fucking awesome.
Hospitality industry is not easy right now.
I was just gonna say it's tough.
Everyone's rocked post COVID. The money's dried up in the federal funds, and everyone's been operating pretty lean. But we're very blessed. I've never thought, growing up how I did, that we'd scale to 100+ employees and teammates under our guidance. So that's kind of the motivation every day to keep going and keep food on the family, everyone's family.
Oh yeah, hospitality is not. It's not. Now, do you plan to keep expanding, or you just want to stay at the ones you got currently?
Expansion's always a thought. I think we were at me and Jeff were former poker guy. We were all in guys. We just kept going all in, and then COVID rocks the world, right? And it kind of paused. So
sit down.
I'm not saying that that's not in our future, but right now it's just kind of about sustaining operations and doing the best we can to make sure that we're providing proper service and making people feel good in the locations we have in Rhode Island. I don't want to oversaturate the market either. You don't want to have too many locations in one market. So that's our goal with that brand. We also, me and Jeff together saved our community theater here in Cranston, the Park Theater. That was turbulent. We found an $8 million federal grant that got blocked because of politics.
Wow.
That was going to build a community center and make it a state-of-the-art facility. So there was some highs and lows in that journey, but eventually it led to a management company that's now signed a long-term lease, and they're doing a great job.
That's awesome.
Called Spectacle Live, and we can protect it as a theater. Kids need art, especially.
That was further along. That's crazy. You got right to it. But I spent New Year's Day the best time of my life. I took my mom there. We had a good time. New Year's Eve, it was fire.
Amen.
But before we go into that, I know you have a good relationship with Kenan Thompson. What was your role in bringing the production of Good Burger 2 to Rhode Island?
That same friend that I had met early on in my journey. Well, I had known him as a kid in Cranston. He moved out to Hollywood. The same kid I was talking about that lived in the Hollywood Hills. He ended up becoming Kenan's business partner. So I find myself in a situation where I'm visiting him, and I'm fortunate enough to go see the Elon Musk episode, and I'm I'm sitting next to Charles Porch, who essentially created the story of Instagram, and Sophie Watts, who was one of the biggest billionaire rise to fame.
There's some big names over here, people watching.
And I'm just trying to like keep it cool and chilling environment.
You must have been jumping out of your skin, no?
It was electric, and in Miley Cyrus is performing, and there's nothing like Saturday Night Live.
Miley Cyrus too? Holy shit, that's fucking insane. Dude.
Nothing like Saturday Night Live, and then it led to me getting pizza with Keenan after SNL with my friend, and eventually we were in a nightclub late, and I'm just pitching Rhode Island, and it's not even about Ed Brady. I'm just saying what a beautiful state Rhode Island is to film in, and how we have great food, and we're only 3.5 hours from New York, and we have talent here. We have so many creatives. We have RISD. We have all these beautiful schools. We have we have the teams, and eventually it led to him doing a site visit, and we're at the Beaver, and we're going to Rocky Point, and we're checking out all the Rhode Island. And then eventually it led to I'm on a call with Nickelodeon and Paramount, and Keenan saying at the end of that call, like, hey, I'm contracted. I'll shoot this wherever you guys want.
That's awesome.
But I want to shoot it in Rhode Island. And from there, it was just electric, man. It was just an electric ride. I was fortunate enough to, be on set every day and experience behind the scenes and be out with him and going to New York System late night, and going to Newport and really showing him Rhode Island and kind of being that local ambassador.
You were VIP for real.
It was real. It was childhood dream, man. And
that's what I was gonna say. Like, not to cut you off, but like this, I gotta touch on, like, cause I remember coming out here. I used to come here in the summers. I told you before we started, and we used to watch Nickelodeon all the time. We used to watch all that, and. Yo, I ain't gonna front. When I found out that they were filming, I went to the restaurant, to the Friendlies. I had to go. I think I went there like almost like every day just to see. Like, I'm like, this is really here. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. Funny thing is, I go on set because I ended up getting an extra, role on there. And then I had the hat, the all that hat. And I ain't even gonna lie, I kind of froze up. When I finally got to meet Keenan, they didn't allow us to take like props and nothing like that on the set. And I was like, I had an all that. He's like, you should have bring it. He was mad chill. I don't know why I was freaking out so much, but this is a guy I was watching when I was a kid on TV.
He's by far the most humble, talent, creative person I've ever worked with. I mean, he must have took 1,500 photos while we were here. I mean, he was taking pictures with everyone. And there were days where, like, we'd do 14 hours on the set, and he's jumping, and he's in all these crazy scenes, and he's exhausted. And there's a line out there of 100 people that want a picture, and he rallies back up. And even though security is like no, he's like, nope, we're going to take those pictures. And those are the types of people of impact I want to work with for the remainder of my career. People that want to make a rippling effect of difference, and show love, show authentic love, talk to everybody, and humanize the experience of art.
Absolutely. Like, and we're on the up and up as far as like New England in general, because I was part of like I did New York casting, shit like that. And then I remember when I was first doing it, because this is a few years before the Good Bird. Now, like, I see a lot of shows and like movies are being filmed out here. We're rising, we're getting there. Because everything's always in New York, or Cali. Yeah. So this is coming up.
There's a lot of good people here. Steve Feinberg and the people on his team that are kind of running the film division, they've been working really hard over the last 20 years to kind of get us to a footprint where we could be a Hollywood East if we can continue to kind of grow the credits. And unfortunately, this year, due to the budget shortfalls of COVID and rippling effects of COVID, there's cuts everywhere. So you're going to see a little bit less film in the year ahead, but hopefully we can recover as a state and rebuild and keep that momentum going, and eventually have a movie studio just like Massachusetts and Connecticut and be flowing, So they've proven that tax credit basically, so if a production comes in and you do a $1 million film, you can get 30% back, which you obviously have to, reinvest or above the line. But I give you that information because for every $5 that they give the credit, it's going back to the local restaurants. It's going back to the local tent company. I eventually partnered with a tent company that I had met from Good Burger when I read a beautiful email that he told me basically kept him in business post-COVID because of the work from Good Burger. And we eventually co-produced a future concept that we're doing now called Rhode Island Night Market, which is sprinkled around everywhere. So, I love film. I moved out there to do it. Now I would love the luxury or opportunity to do it right here at home.
In your backyard, right?
In my backyard with people like Erica, and I know you had her on as a guest.
Shout outs to Erica, by the way. She made this happen too.
The best. She's the best. I met her, in the hockey rinks as an early kid, and I watched her do her thing in Hollywood, and and grind and be on all those red carpets and work with Paula Abdul and, you know, some huge scale talent. Rhode Island's blessed to have her back at the Rhode Island International Film Festival.
People sleep on Rhode Island, man.
Yeah,
we're definitely up and coming. We got a lot of things going on.
We got some talent, yeah.
It's dope. It's dope. Now, I must assume, I got to ask this, you must be an avid reader. What kind of books are you into? And like, you know, do you spend most of your free time reading and stuff like that? Because I know you be reading.
Yeah, of course. You know, I try to read 10 pages a day. And it's always on a different topic. Something, anything that it could be motivation. You know, I just reread David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Us. I don't know if that's read that one, but that's one I always recommend. And that's just, you know, this is about a guy who, you know, everyone kept saying no to him. And it was a mental war of, how do I push through? And eventually, you know, he gets what he wants and after many years. And, you know, any story that resonates, I enjoy. The 4 Agreements is kind of...
I've been trying to get...
That's my starter pack I have to recommend.
Yeah. I got a whole bunch of books that I'm sitting on. I just never have the fucking time because I'm doing just so much
10 pages. Do 10 pages. I try to do that and I try to do the walk. Just the mental health walk where I'll put the phone down and I'll give myself back that time. You know, and it's not easy. It's a busy world.
Take a break, right?
Yeah, but, you know, that break will often spark a new creative thought or something from the reading will inspire a new, wild idea, and it'll just motivate me to try to make it happen and apply action into thought.
Now, I know we touched a little bit based on that, but I just want to go back to that. The Historic Park Theater and the event center, what challenges did you have, like, with that whole venture? And how did you try to overcome them? And did you overcome all the challenges that because I know it wasn't like an easy
it was wild,
walk to take.
You know, it was interesting. At the time I was on the city council and I was serving in government and the building was at auction. It was like 2019 and we were coming out of COVID and theaters were closing left and right. They were going desolate. It had been closed so long where basically the conversation got to a point where, you know, is it going to become a real estate conversion? And it drove me insane. The only person that was really interested at the time wanted to make it and convert it into real estate. And certainly I'm not knocking, you know, business people and investment, but I could never see a town losing 100, or at the time.
That's a historic landmark.
97-year-old theater. Yeah. So I went to the ethics commission on the council to see if I could make a play at it. I certainly didn't have the money to buy a multi-million-dollar asset, but, you know, I wanted to see what my options were. And basically at that time, they told me the only way I could go after it was if I resigned council. And I talked to my wife. I gave it like 48 hours. I didn't have the money. I didn't have proven thought. And I quit on Monday. And I just never stopped towards, and again, Jeff stepped up in a big way and, you know, supported Early Vision, my original partner from the Thirsty Beaver. And we got the doors open and kind of got some initial funding, not a lot of initial funding, but enough to have a runway. And then when we first opened the doors after a massive success with Jim Brewer, a comedy show that almost sold out, people were back. They loved the theater. Massive flood, rainstorm, roofs are collapsing around Rhode Island.
God.
Not, you know, there's no federal aid and you know, we just poured pretty much everything we had into the renovation, getting the doors back open. We were the first theater that you didn't have to wear a mask to come back into and enjoy a show. And for me, at the core of it all, obviously beyond children and arts for children and keeping art alive, was people need connectivity. People need music. People need inspiration when they go out and they put their phone down for 2 hours and they go out with friends and have a drink and socialize and come back together as a society. I mean, it was the number one thing of impact I thought I could utilize my time and life experience with. And coming back from the flood, we were able to produce maybe like, I think it was 41 shows. Of the 41 shows, and I didn't take huge risks. I did a lot of kind of like safe shows. I was able to show 37 out of 41 were profitable. And I had a note holder out of New York, a gentleman by the name of Pai Patel, who kept believing, even though when things got dark and couldn't find a way to...
You need people like that,
Pai Patel kept believing. And, you know, eventually it led to... I never really wanted to full-time run it. I was always seeking someone else to run it, a viable management company, a Live Nation type company. And we were very blessed when Spectacle Live came in and did the tour and met with the note holder and eventually signed a long-term lease. And now they're running it for a long time ahead. Hopefully, God bless. It's 100 years old.
Let's keep it going, right? And that's truly inspiring. You know, you grew up here. Imagine that. Would you ever think as a child you'd be doing all these wonderful things, especially for your city overall, you know, and your state?
And again, I've been blessed to have so many people with me doing these things, building great teams. But I remember going to a show there with my dad, watching the Beach Boys, and that was certainly
you
not
bring it back.
on my radar of I'm gonna save this one day, But one of the hardest but yet proudest things I think I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, that's inspiring to me, because you got like that story of like never give up. At the end of the day, just keep going. You quit your job as a councilman. That's fucking insane. Like, who would do that? To Sunday believe in. You got like, that's something that's like motivating to me. This is what we do here. We like to motivate people.
I appreciate
watching.
that very much. Yeah.
Absolutely,
and I think it's important to talk about the lows too. I could give you a screenshot of all the highs.
Oh, it's not all glitz and glamour.
No, I mean, there's times where I'm blessed to have a wife that like you can't put food on the table and she's still believing, right? You're grinding and she's grinding with me, and there's so many lessons in the journey. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of money in the bank, and I've been in a situation where I've had next to nothing in the bank. And, whatever motivates you to get up every day, whatever keeps you going, well, that's your spark, right? That's what you keep flying at. Because there's a lot of people that are going to disappoint us in this journey. There's a lot of people that are going to say one thing, and then when it comes time, not do it, or you're going to do things on. And I've learned a lot through those lessons too. But even in this project, I'd love to get it to a point where it's just state-of-the-art facility and it's protected in a land trust forever. It never goes anywhere. But, people got to keep supporting. The community's got to keep rallying. And
oh, no, you're doing great things. I know you're going to keep doing wonderful things. Now, how do you, like, balance your interests, like hospitality? You got the media production. You got all these wonderful things you're doing. How do you balance all these things? And then, fatherhood. You just had another child. How do you stay balanced? Like, I just want to...
I think time management is everything. I spend all my time at this point at 40, and I know you said 37. 40, I really understand time, and how much limited we have remaining. I can't believe we're maybe halfway through our life, hopefully longer, right? But 40 hit, and I've gotten more organized. I get up earlier. I'm always staying efficient with my time. I'm trying not to waste my time. Exactly. And on top of all that, it takes a lot to fill my cup. I'm a creative. I certainly have ADHD. I never in a million years thought I'd have multiple restaurants. One was a goal, right? Yeah. So when you can build teams and you can try to find a way to rally like-minded people that are uniquely different at different things than you are, and surround yourself and not have an ego and just kind of grow together, it's allowed me to get to a point wherever it goes, where I can fill my cup with little things each day that are all part of the portfolio of what it hopefully will find joy, right? We're all
There's no I in team, no?
No, that's not, man.
You need that support system.
It's everything.
People don't understand that.
Get as many good people around you, as many good talented people that don't have egos, that are with the same cause, and possibilities are endless.
Now you just started. I want to say I don't know. I always fuck everything up. Quahog Creative. I'm Puerto Rican, so I got like that fucking accent and shit. But all right, so if you want to just walk us through how did that project come about?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? We need to know.
Absolutely. Quahog Creative, it's kind of like getting me back into my creative. I always wanted to be a filmmaker. Space. Yeah, I always wanted to do filming. So. It's basically part we're doing film production, we're doing storytelling, docuseries for different brands, different events. It's part we have a concept called Rhode Island Night Market, which is scaled to 5,000-6,000 people at some events that we've done at Mulligan's Island or throughout the state, and we produce events like Kids Con and Character Con or live music festivals, or we're going to be working with RIFC at the new soccer stadium, which we're super excited for. So it's part that, it's part creative artist agency. So we're working with artists in specific realms that we believe we can get them to the next step. Maybe a deal in New York.
So it's like a management company type of thing?
Part that, yep, for sure.
That is awesome. I need in.
Part that, hey, you're in. We're here, right? We're here.
That's awesome.
And part finding a way to uplift as many people's voices as we can with our connected network. We're, Brother Lupe, who's my partner on that journey, I met in the nightclubs 20 years ago at a charity event, and he's never left my side through the highs, through the lows. His mind is amazing. His heart is amazing. He's the real deal, authentic friend that would take a bullet for you that anyone wants. And he balances me in so many different ways. The studio's right here at Oaklawn Ave, and we're kind of just trying to, again, put out uplifting, impactful, lifestyle, positive storytelling.
I'm looking forward to meeting him, by the way, and I can't wait to the next episode we do. We definitely got.
He's gonna bring food. Food.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's Mr. Food. Roadie
and I love to
foodie.
eat.
Yeah,
man. Shout out to
he knows all the food. Yeah. Amen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I know you do a little bit also of giving back. What drives your commitment to philanthropy and community leadership?
Great question. I can remember back to Dad's probably going to be mad at me saying this, but I remember Dad, mom's out of work, no money coming in, and he's going to Walmart, and, some baseball cards kind of didn't find their way in the carriage, and he gets arrested. And I remember at that time, I was like mad. I was like, oh, my dad's in the paper, I'm mad at him. Yeah. But looking back at that moment of time, he was just trying to put toys under the Christmas tree. And why does that resonate now? Well, it's interesting that we've been doing a toy drive for over a decade that's raised over 100,000 toys over the last decade. I don't do it for credit. I don't do it for recognition. I don't even need my name on it, right? And knowing that we can provide impact to kids in our local community that went through the same shit.
Struggles.
Struggles that I did. I think helped resonate it. We do a lot also with the homeless. We've been doing homeless dinners for the last 10 years with the Rhode Island Dream Center, which is right here in Cranston. Yep. I needed God. I had one of my first girlfriends was a preacher's daughter named Margot, and she's got a beautiful family now, beautiful kids. And she brought God in my life when I was like 16, 17, when Mom was struggling and the dad was struggling. And ever since, Praise Tabernacle Christian Church right here in Cranston, 3 services on Sunday. We work with them. The food truck goes out 7 nights a week and feeds the homeless. So again, things that I don't need the credit. It's like, it just makes me feel good, right?
Yeah, you like to give back, right? It feels good.
If you can't give money, I mean, everyone has time, and that 1 hour that you do find a way to give or go out on the food truck, it kind of like grounds you back in the moment of like, what the fuck am I complaining about? Excuse my language, but
sometimes you can curse, say what we all game here.
All right, cool.
So that's the thing, right? Just to touch base on that. I remember there's times, and even now, like, oh, I'm not fucking famous yet. Oh, I want to fucking make it. I'm like crying about all this shit, right? But then now I ended up being humbled in life. It was a time I was making a lot of good money. I was doing my thing with the, doing food, this and that. And then I lost it all within a few months, right? And then like I ended up having to take just odd jobs that I fucking hate, right?
Yep, I've been there.
One of the jobs I get is working with kids that have autism, which I'm currently still doing now. Amen. And it makes me so grateful. I'm like, I was looking at it at the time like, damn, I hate doing this. It's not really my forte. But now I actually enjoy it because I'm like, I'm helping kids out that really need help. And then when I go home now, though, I'm like the happiest man alive. I'm broke as fuck. I'm like, I got my daughter. Thank God she's healthy. Amen. It's like the smallest things, right? And then even giving back, like you said, back in the day, I like to sell New Yorkers. They'll sell ice to an Eskimo. You know what I mean? Of course. Everything I had, I would never give it away. I got to sell this. I can sell that. It makes me so happy now to give like the shirt off my back. Like there's times I wear I'm like, let me give this shit away. Somebody needs it. Why am I holding it in my closet? It's like things like that. I just want to touch because that's amazing. Giving back's always a great thing.
Right back at you. That's a profound share. And I think whatever people believe, I do believe in God. He gives us these messages when we need them the most. Wealth to me when I was growing up in the country club was always like, oh, I need to make $1 million. I need to be super rich, right? And then as you get older, it's like, no, I need to enjoy my days. It's like
family.
Wealth is family. Wealth is authentic, genuine love around us. Wealth is finding a way to be motivated every day. We got food on our table, great. You got shelter on your table. You got clothes, great. It's like
you're healthy.
You're healthy, because I've been around fame, and I never anticipated being a local name of fame. And people, I've seen the hate. I've seen the negative energy when people don't even know whether it be me or Keenan or whatever it may be. I remember a girl went up to Keenan and was like, take your glasses off. You ain't him. And it's like, he's a human. I had to step him. He's a human. You remember
Relax.
His Yeah. So I think we all need those grounding moments to kind of always reset us because the world can get us angry. You're driving down the street, someone beeps the horn.
What the fuck? I know New York is the number one.
You need the reset, right? You touched down New York. I just came back from New York. Inspiring place, man.
Yeah. I love my city too. The same way you love it out here, I love New York.
Amen to that.
Yeah. That's fucking amazing. Now, what is your vision overall for the future of Cranston, and how do you see your role in achieving that vision?
Oh, that's a great question. Future Cranston. I want to apply my time, as I have been, with direct intention to create the largest rippling impact effect I can through a connected network as a team.
Nice.
You know, we're in a unique world where we certainly know where politics is DER, fighting, false narratives.
It's like a reality show now, right?
Yes, it's like
it's fucking crazy.
You don't know what to believe. People have lost trust in the system. So, you know, what I would like to do with my time ahead is try to help people rebuild trust, not necessarily on a national level, but hopefully right here at home, locally, we can help rebuild parks. We can help save parks. We can help make sure our kids get the best education they can ahead. You know, I would certainly consider in a few years, maybe when the mayor's done, running for something like that and spending my time with intention. I don't know. Who knows what time or where I'll go, but I think that I'm going to consistently continue to try to spend my time where I believe me and my family can create the best impact. And I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I want to be one of the greats.
Absolutely. You should be.
I want to be someone that people look back on and I left a lasting legacy for my son, maybe future children, and people around that say, oh, look, that kid was a caddy. And wherever that goes, I don't know.
Dream big, kid.
Dream big.
Right?
Dream big.
Don't give up.
Yes.
Have a name, a street named after you, all that.
You never know. You never know.
Fucking endless opportunities.
But you can't, even with that, you can't do it without a team and coming together as a society, getting back at the table just like this, having real conversation, understanding that we're all uniquely different with unique trauma, with unique different moldings, and we're all just as human as the next person, right? So
absolutely,
get back to a table and have conversations to find solutions. That's what I want to do in Cranston.
I love it. We're going to get into the album of the week real quick.
Album of the week on the Jmack Experience Podcast.
Album of the week this week is Some Sexy Songs for You by Party Next Door and Drake. You heard it yet? New album?
Do we get to hear it here?
No, we can't because we get a copyright strike and all that bullshit. But eventually I'll get to talk to Drake once I get big in the game. But, you know, we like to do album of the week, movie of the week this week.
Movie of the week on the Jmack Experience Podcast.
Movie of the week this week is The Monkey by Stephen King. You gonna check that out? I know you're into movies.
Yeah, Stephen King's a beast, man.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Did you see the previews yet?
I did see the preview.
Looks crazy, right?
Sure does. He's got a wild mind.
I love horror films. We were at Comic-Con. We got to meet the producers of the Terrifier 3.
Oh heck yeah,
that was a fucking moment. I was like, this is all, and they got a crazy story too. Started with like a small budget. They had like a YouTube film. Look at that now.
Hey, amen.
Like, I love those stories. That's my thing, like the underdog.
That's the best. Same here.
We're going to be wrapping it up soon. What's next for Ed Brady? Is there anything else that you would like to promote? Something that I didn't cover or I might have missed?
You know, I would say we covered a lot, man. We covered Quahog. We covered the Thirsty Beaver. We covered the park. We covered government. We covered life. Right now, I would say day in and day out, I'm just trying to hold myself accountable to be the best person I can. You know, we all make promises that I want to continue to keep. Yeah. It doesn't matter how long they take. I got to be a man of my word. And some of those are my proudest days when I keep saying something in my mind and I can keep crossing it off the list. So just trying to be healthy, healthy mind, healthy body, keep educating myself, keep taking great conversations, keep learning and not gatekeeping information and giving to others that need information of uplifting, keep investing my time and the youth of not only this community, but the state of Rhode Island, keep being bold, stick my chest out, put my head up. And, you know, I was raised that I'm not better than anybody, but nobody's better than me. So, you know, I treat everyone with respect. And,
humble,
love.
right?
Yeah, for sure. So day at a time, man. I mean, that's the world we're in. I'm trying to just do the best I can to find joy, make an impact every single day and, you know, do the best I can like everyone else.
I like that. Well done and beautifully said. Now, where can we follow you at social media-wise?
Ed Brady R.I.
Ed Brady R.I. I like it. Any other platforms that you use or just Instagram? You TikTok? You be doing TikTok dances
Instagram is my
shit?
biggest. Yeah. Instagram is my biggest. I'm on Facebook too. Facebook only allows you to have 5,000 friends.
Absolutely.
So.
You overseeded that, huh?
I did. I overseeded that. So I try to plug Instagram. That's unlimited. But yeah.
Right. All right. You got a YouTube channel?
We have some great YouTube channels coming, and a lot of it's not. That's under Quahog. A lot of it's not even us. It's just up people we want to uplift throughout Rhode Island.
Absolutely, I like that. Can anybody reach out to you if they have any like ideas or future ventures or projects?
Please.
You have an email?
I do. EdwardBradyRI@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Make sure you reach out, give them those ideas. Can we agree that all the experiences that you went through got you to where you are today?
Without question. You know, I don't know if you know the movie Butterfly Effect. But
yes.
it's a good one, right? And you know, it's at certain points of our journey, I think that, you know, you're like, why is this happening to me? Or why is God giving me this test?
For
right?
me.
Yeah. But it's all just but just like the movie Butterfly Effect. Like you need to do every single thing to actually appreciate and see life through the lens that I currently see it through.
Absolutely.
And you know, just like everyone else, I'm imperfect. I haven't, you know, everything's not sunshine and rainbows. I have bad days. I have trauma like everyone else. But I'm trying to continue to therapeutically talk about mental health, talk to other men about, you know, life is not easy. Same with women, you know, and try
That's
to
a big one.
And but yeah, I would say every single situation of my life, highs, lows, everything, I needed to be exactly where I am right now. And I feel like I'm positioned to go on the run of a lifetime with a team ahead in the next decade to create impact.
I can't wait to keep seeing you win.
Oh, I appreciate
this is
it.
very inspiring. And any advice out there for those who may be experiencing the same situations that you went through or are going through at the moment?
Talk to people. Talk to people that are smarter than you. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's a good one.
And just don't give up. You know, there's gonna be some dark days, and if you're around, that's another thing. Making sure your support system around you is real and authentic. You know, I met a lot of people in my journey, and a lot of people around in the highs, right? A lot of people are right
it's
there
all good,
trying to get on the list in the nightclub or whatever it may be. But you know, it's those that stick by you too through the darkness that you never forget. You know, so yeah, reach out. And hopefully I can be a resource. I know a lot of people. I can get anyone on the phone. So you know, through life experience and 40 years of acquiring a great network, I love helping people. So if you have questions, reach out. If I can help in any way, I always will.
I like it. You heard it here first on the Jmack Experience Podcast. Any last words or special shout outs that you would like to mention before we sign off?
Yeah, Jmack. I mean, he had me here today and
awesome.
showed me love and he gave me his time. And yeah, my wife and child. I guess that's got to be always the first shout out. Right?
Absolutely.
Taylor and Maverick.
Family over everything, right?
Family over everything.
You seen a lot of those tattoos in your head there?
Amen. Amen, man. Yeah, no, they're my rock. They're my driving force, son.
That's
what keeps me going. So
absolutely. Episode 71. Ed Brady, the Jmack Experience Podcast. Shout outs to Black Sheep CMOS. Make sure you hit up Raul Delgado for your Black Sheep CMOS. Shout outs to Conversation Studio. We're signing out. Gra!
Thanks for coming on the Jmack Experience Podcast. Be sure to come on for another episode every single week. Until next time, peace.
Black Sheep CMOS. It'll make you want to slap your daddy.
Oh, harder, Daddy.